that can be crazy, loud, overwhelming, and often painful. Our church, this group, wants you to know that we are glad that you are here. Right here, right now. This is what we've all been waiting for. Get ready, because we start in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hey guys.
We're here live at 5, and if you are with us, that means you have been here live at 5 also with us.
Yeah, we're here live. It's so good to be back. Every week, this is just what we're going to be doing, so keep joining us, and we're really glad that you're here. So comment on there. I've seen some of you already on there. Just let us know you're here. The Living Noodle. I don't know who you are. Let me know who you are, because I still don't know who that is.
Living Noodle is somebody I know. Is it a Hannah? No.
I don't think so. I don't know. But anyway,
she told me a couple weeks ago, and I forget who it is.
Gotcha. Well, we'll figure it out. Just let us know, seriously, because it's really bothersome. But
a great name, Living Noodle.
Yes, absolutely.
Good name.
Thank you for joining us again. So tonight we have a game. So Amber's going to lead us in that.
Yeah, I don't know how you guys feel about being homeschooled, but since you think you're homeschooled and you're smart, we wanted to play a homeschool game. For all the homeschoolers out there joining us, nothing's new for you guys. We all know you are very smart. It's the public schools kids. We're going to try to see if they can hold it down. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to ask a series of questions. Every question has 4 possible answers, A, B, C, or D. In the comments, whether you're on YouTube or Facebook, try to answer as quickly as possible. And the people with the most correct answers at the end of our game, or at the end of tonight, we're going to announce a winner, and you also will be receiving a prize in your email or text message. Mm-hmm. So let's go on and start playing. Here we go. I'm going to read the first question, and Dylan will read the answer.
Well, and we found out who the Living Noodle is.
Who is it?
It's Hannah Wenzel.
Hannah. See,
so Hannah, thank you for joining us.
All right. When is an atom stable? Is it A, when it is has a full outer orbit, B, when it has the same amount of electrons as protons, C, when it has no neutrons left, or D, when it has an odd number of valence electrons? I don't know the answer to this. We're gonna give him a few
I got
seconds.
this one wrong when I was reviewing it. Yeah.
Oh gosh, we gave the answer already. All right, here it is.
That's good though. All right, so hey, we got some people that had that one right. Colin, good job. And Supreme Memes. Supreme Memes, who are you? I don't know who Supreme Memes is.
Supreme Memes. When it has a full outer orbit. Okay, great job. If you answered A, you got a correct point. Becca's going to be tallying those up for us later. Next question. Dylan, you ready?
All right. Who is the 28th President of the United States of America? Mm-hmm. A, Calvin Coolidge. B, Woodrow Wilson. C, Herbert Hoover. And D, Theodore Roosevelt.
I hope it's Herbert Hoover just because the name is funny.
Yeah. I don't know who it is, but we'll give you guys a couple more seconds here. Go ahead and submit your answers.
In 3,
Supreme Memes is
2, 1. The answer is B.
Woodrow Wilson.
Woodrow Wilson. WW.
Good job, Asa and Jigglypuff. Oh, I know who that is. That's
All right.
that's it.
All right, next question. Here we go. What is the largest city in Canada, A?
My home country.
A, Vancouver. B, Calgary. C, Montreal. Or D, Toronto?
Well, you guys are all trying to figure that out. Do you know how Canada got its name? It's a bunch of guys sitting around the table, and they said, well, how about a CA? How about an NA? How about a DA?
All right, and the answer is Toronto. That is correct. Toronto is the largest city in Canada.
Jigglypuff said this is too easy.
All right, well, good job, Jigglypuff.
Yeah.
All right, 1 cup equals how many ounces? A, 4, B, 8, C, 10, or D, 12?
I thought it was 16.
Oh, gosh.
That's a pound, though.
A pound is
16 ounces, not fluid ounces.
All right, you guys should know this.
Come on now.
This is
Here we
easy.
Go. All right, give you 3,
3,
2, 1.
If you said B, you are correct. 8 ounces in a cup. 16 ounces, that's a pound.
Yeah,
okay, and moving on.
All right. The word the and a are known as what in the English grammar? That's A, adverbs, B, pronouns, C, clauses, or D, articles. I'm not good in English, and I definitely got this one wrong earlier.
The, and A.
Mm-hmm. How about no, I'm not going to say the joke anymore.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
All right, what do we got? So,
Answer.
3, 2, 1.
D.
D. All right.
Articles. Articles.
Like yep. That's all right.
I didn't know that answer either.
I didn't know.
What is the capital of Finland?
IKEA.
A.
Turku.
Turku or Turco. I don't know how you say it. I don't know. B. What is B?
Alu.
I'm glad you're going to read.
C. Helsinki and D. Perry.
Mm-hmm.
Tempere.
I have no idea.
Tempere.
I should know.
I don't know. I don't know that.
I'm gonna go. Well, I think it's C. What do you think it is?
I think it's E. IKEA.
IKEA.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's go. Let's go with the answer is C.
Helsinki.
Helsinki.
Helsinki. Who knows?
Helsinki.
If you speak Finnish, let us know.
Okay. Is this the last question?
What is the primary function of leaves? A, to provide shade and protection. B, to provide food for insects. Both of those are correct. C, to gather as much light as possible. Probably not. D, to get rid of excess water that enters through the roots. That sounds about right, too. I think there's 3 answers.
I realize you know nothing about photosynthesis. Dylan knows nothing about trees.
I took botany for 6 years.
You wouldn't know it based on what you thought.
I'm trying to mess with them.
Okay. All right, here we go.
3,
2, 1. The answer is C, to gather as much light as possible.
Photosynthesis. She gave it away when she said photosynthesis.
Photosynthesis. Exactly.
All right, do we have any more?
Oh
boy.
gosh,
Okay.
a math question.
-10
plus -6
-6
equals. Guys, I just want you to know, I'm going to give you a little hint on this one. It is a negative number. Just saying.
Yeah.
You can't add two negatives and be positive. I don't think it works that way. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. You remember that? Parentheses.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't done
exponents. Multiplication, division.
I haven't even done
adding
math
and subtracting.
since I've been in college.
Yeah, that's how it goes. Okay, the answer is letter B, -16.
Jake is over here laughing at me because he's done a lot of math since he's been in college.
All right, here we go. What is the complementary color of blue-green on the color wheel? Is it A, yellow-orange?
B, blue-violet.
C, red-orange.
Or D, yellow-green. So for those of you out there that are colorblind, I didn't know this one either.
Blue-green is...
Fun fact. Wait, blue-green is what?
I don't know.
Fun fact for those of you out there that are listening. Men are twice as likely to be colorblind, and also with every generation we see less color than women do. Yeah.
All right, maybe that's why we don't know what the complementary colors are.
All
right, and the answer is going to be
C. I didn't know that.
Red-orange. Blue-green, red-orange. All right, here we go.
All right.
That means you're...
What is the largest organ of the human body? A, liver. B, lungs. C, skin. And D, intestines. Now, if you're all up to date on medical stuff, apparently there's a new organ that is the largest one. Jake was just telling me about it. I know nothing about it, and I'm in the medical field, so I'm going to have to read up on it. We're not going to include that one as an answer, though.
All right, the answer is letter C. Skin.
Is it?
Jake's playing with us.
He is.
That's not very nice, Jake. All right. So you think you can homeschool. Hopefully you guys did a great job. I think a lot of people answered.
Yeah.
And
we
had some good answers. And we're going to tally up the points and see who won by the end of the night. And we'll send you this little gift in your text. So, where are we at with Easter? We're getting ready for Easter, guys.
Yes, we are getting ready for Easter. And it's cool because our first message this week is kind of related to our last week's message. Last week we talked about fear. And this one also has to do with fear. But last week we talked about how God can handle your fears and that your fears aren't irrational and there's no reason to hide from them. Instead, we need to face them and give them to God. And this week is a little bit of a different take on it, but it's also the next step in that process. So it's good timing.
All right, so we're going to get to our video. We're going to have a little introduction about why Easter is so important, why we celebrate it, what it's really all about as we get ready for this week, moving into Easter, and then coming back on the 19th. So check out both of these videos.
On Easter, we celebrate that Jesus is alive. He rose from the dead. Not even death could contain him. He is alive, and that's why we celebrate this season. Easter is all about the empty tomb. But there's another reason to celebrate, one that should affect us every day of the year. Jesus is alive in you. Romans 8 says, "The Spirit of God who raised Jesus from the dead lives in you." Did you catch that? The same powerful Spirit that brought Jesus back to life lives inside of you. And just as God raised Christ Jesus from the dead, He will give life to your mortal bodies by this same Spirit living within you. Can you believe that promise? God's Spirit is inside of you and gives you power for today and eternal life when this day is over. So if all of that is true, then let's live for Jesus today. Let's love like Jesus today. Let's celebrate Easter today and tomorrow and the next day. Happy Easter every day of the year.
Easter, a time for fake grass, plastic eggs, these things, chocolate bunnies, and people dressed as bunnies. And then there are the weird parts of Easter, like fake grass, plastic eggs, these things, chocolate bunnies, and people dressed as bunnies, which is interesting. But what does all this stuff have to do with Easter? And if this holiday is about more than candy and wearing uncomfortable clothes to church and lunch with your relatives, what makes Easter happy?
What's up, everyone? Happy Easter. My name is Crystal Cox. For those of you who do not know me, I'm super excited to be here with y'all today. Now, I know it's not Easter Sunday just yet, but around here in my neighborhood and maybe even in yours, at every Walmart, every Target, and basically every grocery store, we've been ready for this holiday for months. No matter how you grew up celebrating or if you grew up celebrating, you'd probably agree that for the most part, Easter is a happy time. Just think about it for just one moment. You are allowed to eat an unreal amount of candy, and every time I eat a Reese's egg, I think it's a happy Easter. People wear pastel colors. Most of the time, we'd be a little confused by so many pinks, greens, and even baby blues, although my favorite color is baby blue. But at Easter time, for some reason, it makes us all smile. We color eggs. Admittedly, it is the weirdest thing ever, but at the same time, so satisfying. And then we watch little kids hunt for them. How great is that? When I was young, I used to see little kids hunt for them because they were looking for the ones with the money in it. I don't know if any of y'all ever did that, but when I was a kid, that's what I was looking for. Parents force their kids to take photos with an oversized rabbit. I mean, an oversized rabbit, likely permanently traumatizing for them. And for me too, because my mom made me do that as well. All for an Instagram post. And you and I know we do the most when it comes to our Instagram post. In this series, we're going to talk about some of the reasons why Easter is such a big deal, particularly for people who are Jesus followers. If you're like me, growing up, you may wonder why Easter is even a thing. But during this series, we'll talk about not only what and why we celebrate Easter, but also why Easter should make all of us happy. But before we get there, let's talk about this last one for a second. Let's talk about the Easter Bunny, because we all want to know about the Easter Bunny. I still want to know about the Easter Bunny. Does this idea of a huge bunny seem like a strange tradition for a holiday? Or is it just me? Like, have you seen those pictures of those people in those weirded out bunny costumes with the kid that is terrified out of their mind? You know, I'm with the kid on this one. Now, luckily, your family probably won't make you dress up and sit with a giant bunny this Easter. And I think you all know, whether it's a giant Easter bunny or just something else, we all know that feeling of being, scared. We all know that fear can take away our happiness and almost faster than anything else in this world. We felt some form of fear since we were little kids, whether it was the monster in the closet, or maybe you're like me, you're scared of the dark and you thought it was always a monster under the bed. Fear can wreck our sense of peace and happiness. As you got older and hit middle school, your fears likely transferred to other things like failing classes, being rejected by friends, being made fun of, feeling lonely sitting at the lunch table by yourself, or attempting to talk to someone you had a crush on. Sure, your fear looked different than when you were a little kid, but the feeling was still very real for you. And now you're in high school, and you've probably figured out that you don't just grow out of fear. No, as you grow up, fear kind of just like grows with you. Maybe you don't call it fear. Maybe you call it stress, or feeling anxious, or being worried. But no matter what you call it, you probably fear something. And listen, we all do. Maybe for you, it's like the fear of not amounting to anything or not having a real significance in this life, like the lack of purpose. The fear of the future, like what's ahead, your health, or maybe even the health of one of your loved ones. The fear of not fitting in, making the team, keeping up with your GPA, or getting into the college of your choice. Listen, whatever your particular fear is, you don't need me to tell you that it's a very big deal to you. The reality is that fear is on the rise. In fact, chances are good that in this room right now, with me, fear is determining the direction of a lot of our lives. We are making decisions to do and not to do certain things based on our fear. We are avoiding people or conversations that need to actually happen, maybe even this week, but it freaks us out so much we can't even do it. We are numbing ourselves for hours on our phones because we don't want to acknowledge the feelings of stress or fear we have on the inside of us. And whether we realize it or not, fear is fueling a lot of our thoughts and actions. Here's what's really interesting about all of this. If we were to boil it all down, there is one fear that connects all of our fears, and that's this: the fear of death. You may be thinking right now, wow, Crystal, you just took a dark turn. I'm afraid of getting a bad grade in history. I'm not sure about this dying thing that you're talking about. But this is not just about physical death, you guys. It's about the end of something. For example, think about it in relationship to some of the fears you have right now. We are afraid of really, truly being ourselves, and I kind of grasped at that because I have that fear too sometimes. Because we think that if people knew the real us, they'd freak out, run for their lives, and their friendship with us would just end. Their interest in being our true friend would be over. We are afraid of not getting into the college of our dreams because if our application gets rejected, it kind of sort of feels like we're then rejected and that our dreams are dead. We are afraid of getting busted or found out when it comes to some of the secretive stuff that we have harboring on the inside of us, because that would mean other people's perfect image of us would have to die. Whether it's physical death or the death of something we hope for, the fear of death comes down to losing something we think we'll never get back. And when you think of it that way, it's easy to connect almost all of our fears back to a fear of death. You see, death seems final. It's like fear's knockout punch that gives it victory. So if our fears come true and our friendships end, a goal isn't reached, a dream dies, and then all we have at the end of our lives is to realize that death defeats us all at once. That's just flat out devastating, not only for you, but for me, because there's no hope in that. There's nothing happy about that. But that's exactly where Easter comes in, right in the middle of our fear of death. And you know, as we head into this Easter season, and you may have heard the point of this whole thing isn't about just bunnies and eggs and chocolate, although all those things are great. For those of us who follow Jesus, this is a time of the year where we celebrate how he came to earth, died on a cross as a criminal, and then 3 days later, when nobody was expecting it, he rose from the dead. That's why Easter is such a big deal. It has changed everything, and it especially changed the life of a guy named Paul. Paul is one of the most famous Christians in history. So before he became this Jesus follower, he spent years trying to scare Christians into leaving the faith, using death as the ultimate threat. But then he met Jesus, like the used to be dead but rose again Jesus, and it changed everything. The guy who used to threaten Christians' lives became the greatest missionary of all time. He was shipwrecked, imprisoned, threatened, beaten, and bitten by a venomous snake. A venomous snake, y'all. But he kept going because he was so passionate about people understanding the significance of Jesus' death and resurrection. Paul's life was constantly in danger, and in fact, he was eventually killed for his faith. And despite all of that, Paul seemed to live without fear of death. And in one of Paul's letters, we can see why. Paul writes his letter to a church in an ancient city called Corinth. He reminds people that Jesus died and came back to life by his own power 3 days later. Just listen to what Paul writes. Death is swallowed up in victory. Oh, death, where is your victory? Oh, death, where is your sting? It's like Paul is taunting the very idea of death by reminding the Corinthian church that on Easter, death lost to Jesus. When Jesus died and then rose again, he defeated death. And that means that because of the resurrection, death can no longer defeat us. The power that death had over the relationships, reputations, futures, hopes, dreams, and even our physical bodies is gone. Thanks to what Jesus did on Easter. We no longer have to fear any kind of death because Jesus destroyed death once and for all. You see, after Jesus hung on a cross and was placed in a tomb, it seemed like humanity's greatest fear had came true. Death was the ultimate thing to fear. To Jesus' closest followers, it seemed like death was final. The dream was over. But when Jesus walked out of that tomb alive, it proved that even the power of death wasn't strong enough to overcome the power of Jesus. This is why Paul was able to live the way he did, no longer fearing death. It's why he didn't seem to fear much of anything in his life after he encountered Jesus. He seemed to realize that the scariest things aren't the most powerful things. The things we fear don't have the same power that Jesus does. Paul trusted that the fear he faced were no match for the power of his resurrected Jesus. You see, if you don't remember anything else that I said, I want you to remember this. Easter means that fear isn't final. If Jesus can defeat death, he can defeat the thing you are afraid of too. Fear will try to convince you that it gets the final word, that at the end of the day, it will win. Fear will try to convince you that you are not good enough, that you will never have a purpose, and that maybe you will always feel worthless or that your life isn't worth it. Fear will try to make you listen and obey it. That's what power is all about. But here's the truth, students. Fear is only powerful if it can convince you that it's final. Fear will try to make you believe that nothing is stronger than what you are afraid of. But when Jesus defeated death itself, it showed us that nothing we fear is bigger than him. Nothing we fear is stronger than him. He showed us that fear, no matter what we are afraid of, doesn't get the final say. And you may be thinking, Crystal, you cannot tell me that it's because Jesus rose again that I don't have to be afraid of anything, even death. Because I'm still anxious, I'm still depressed, I'm still terrified of what's to come in my life ahead. Look, I completely understand. Even if fear doesn't get the final word, that doesn't mean there aren't still things to be afraid of. Real things, big things, and it's not a guarantee that something you are afraid of right now won't actually happen. But it does mean that you are more equipped to handle those things than you might realize. Paul says it like this. The Spirit of God who raised Jesus from the dead lives in you. Stop and just think about that for just one moment. Paul is saying that the same power that defeated death 2,000 years ago when Jesus rose from the dead is actually inside of the people who believe in Jesus today. Maybe that's why Paul seemed to live free from so many of the fears we all typically face. And if you and I can embrace the significance of Easter in our own lives, maybe, just maybe, we could too. And when you have faith in Jesus, the power that brought Jesus back to life is inside of you as well. And that means fear doesn't get to tell you what to do. You may have walked in here today controlled by all sorts of different fears. Just know that if Jesus defeated death, the Spirit of Jesus who defeated death can live in you. Imagine what his Spirit can do in the face of the things you are afraid of. So let me just ask you this. Where has fear been holding you back from? Is it in your relationships? Maybe dreaming big about your future, going off to college, dealing with something concerning your mental health? Maybe you are afraid to just acknowledge it, doing something you know you should do no matter what it does to your reputation? Or maybe, just maybe, actually exploring faith in Jesus. Because up to this point, you've been afraid of how your life might change. Listen, however fear has been holding you back, with Jesus' help, you can take a step towards facing it today. What steps should you take to prove fear doesn't have power over you? And maybe it's forgiving someone, apologizing to someone, talking to your school counselor about something that you're going through, seeing a doctor and starting a conversation, telling your parents something you've never told them before, and maybe asking your small group leader for help with something you've been afraid to admit, picking a new friend group that's better for you, or asking honest questions you have about Christianity. This Easter, no matter what your step is, you can begin today by facing your fears because of what Jesus did. Because of what we celebrate at Easter, what Jesus did for us, fear doesn't get to determine the direction of our lives any longer. I don't know what your step is, but I do know this. If you are someone who believes that Jesus defeated death and you follow him, then you have his power on the inside of you. Because of that, you can handle whatever fear throws at you, no matter how scary it may seem. Remember, you are not facing fear by yourself. You are relying on the power of the one who defeated your greatest fear once and for all. He took away its power, its victory, and its sting. And that means that you don't have to worry about anything being more powerful than Jesus. This is the hope that the Christian faith was built on. This is what caused Paul to live free of fear. This is what makes Easter such a happy holiday. And while the rest of the world lives controlled by fear, driven by stress, you don't have to any longer. We are free. And that's just one reason why we can say, Happy Easter.
All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in with us today. I did want to say a couple of things were brought up when I watched this video about that fear isn't final. I think right now in our current situation that we kind of feel that all of this is just final. You know, for seniors, if you're watching, you probably feel like this year is over. There's almost a matter of death to what you thought you were going to have. I want you to know we see you. We know. There's a part of life right now that everyone is grieving, and you guys are grieving the most, you know, with no prom and no graduation possibly, and not having the traditional sense of being with friends right now. I think everyone is going through a moment where celebrations of life, of birth, of having children and not being able to celebrate that and be around family, or death, where people are passing away and there's funerals that aren't able to be had, and the normal get together of family around dinner or in homes isn't happening. And so fear can feel final, but it's not final. And I think this is so fitting for the time of life that we're going through with COVID-19, but also getting ready for Easter, that we realize that even in the midst of what looks final, in everything that is canceled and everything that is shutting down, that the reality is it's not the end, it's not the final say, and we're going to get to celebrate a little bit more of Easter on Wednesday at 11. Dylan's going to go live at 11 for you guys to hop in. We're going to continue this series, and we're going to join together as a church on Sunday at 11 with everyone celebrating what Easter really is all about, which is Jesus, who tore down the final say of death and came back to life and restored all of us. So be with us this week as we continue on Wednesday and then again on Sunday. Also, Wednesday night is a great time to meet with your small group. If you're feeling boxed in and you're home and you're not able to get out and see people, hey, hop on Zoom with your small group. Tell us what's going on. I don't know about you, but we feel a little stir crazy, you know? I feel fear when I go to the grocery store. Like, it's all part of the process. So be with us. You know, we're better together. We're better when we share each other's burdens. And so hop on Wednesday night with your small group and start talking about this series, what we'll talk about Wednesday morning, and give us a shout out.
Yeah, and talk about your fears. Label one, put it down to your small group leader, and just talk about those things, because a small fear that we have may actually have a greater picture. Just like the message was saying, like a fear of missing out on prom may actually be that fear of death, like this is the end of something. So,
Right.
And it's not necessarily death, but like the death of the school year, like that happens. So
The death of the expectation and the dream and the hope and all that you guys had riding on it. So we do say that we see you and that we know you and we're here for you. So reach out, let us know how we can help. Every small group leader is, in the same boat as you and wants to help and wants to be a part. So that's awesome.
yeah, and so in order to stay connected, she already mentioned a few things. Wednesday morning and Wednesday night, the small group and the message of that day. That's still going to happen. We also have a devotion this week that you can use in the Bible app. We will be putting the link out to you. Some of us have already started sending it out to you in group chats, and I sent it to your parents in an email, so they have that there as well, so they can join us. And it's called Happy Easters. It's right here with this series. The other thing is that we have Friday night quarantine time with Whitney. She's been doing a great job with that. If you haven't seen it yet, get on Instagram, go to IGTV for the CSM Yorktown page, and just watch it. It's awesome. She has these awesome little 5-minute devotions. It's not much.
We love you, Whitney.
Thank you so much for doing that, by the way, Whitney. And so that's just so many options that we're trying to put out there for you guys to stay connected, because we're apart, but we're not alone.
Exactly.
But some exciting news now.
Exciting news. Latest and greatest. Can I tell them the most exciting news ever?
Go for it.
CSM has their own TikTok. What? So, follow us on TikTok. Maybe we'll have some videos out there soon. And we are so excited about TikTok. It's the latest and greatest. It's what you do in your quarantine.
I know.
You don't have anything else to do.
I know. Growing up for me was
Ask
Vine.
Emily.
So now it's, Emily, she's got a Vine.
She's doing great.
TikTok. It was Vine when I was growing up, so it's
Yeah,
just
now
weird
it's
for me
TikTok.
that it's...
Yeah, it's TikTok.
No.
Old man. Okay. All right, what else is new? What else we got?
So, what else is new? The winner of our interaction and comments this week, Anna Kaniki. So
Anna!
you won this week. So
Woohoo!
we will be sending you your prize via text message or email, and then just let us know when you get it.
Yep.
That'll be coming out tonight. The other thing is the Recreate That Scene Challenge has been initiated. All right. So give us some content. I haven't had any submissions yet. Have you?
I know. No, I have not.
Okay.
But I have an idea for one. I need someone else in my house to take my picture.
Well, if you can't, see if somebody can do it for you.
Exactly.
They can submit it. So get on there. Like I changed out the Indiana into Jones gold totem with a piece of toilet paper.
It was
because toilet
great.
paper is like worth more than gold right now.
It's
so
true.
Just have fun with it. Make it your own.
You want to tell them the prize?
I do want to tell them the prize.
Let's tell them the prize.
So the prize is dinner for your family. We will bring you dinner. All right.
Yeah.
We will, when we find out who the winner
From your
is.
favorite restaurant.
Yep.
I think we've narrowed it down to
We got
a
Viking
few options.
burger,
Viking burger, pizza.
pizza,
Chick-fil-A.
And I think there was one more, Taco Bell, if they really like Taco Bell.
Yeah, if you really like Taco Bell.
So, some great prize. We will bring that dinner to you, no contact, 6 feet away. I mean, I know that's hard to fathom.
There's be a ding dong and ditch. Okay, dad joke.
Okay, all right. If you don't know what a fathom is,
Look it
it's
up.
hard to fathom that it's actually a measurement of 6 feet. So keep a fathom's distance away from people. So we'll do a no contact exchange. I know, I told you I was going to do it. You guys said don't.
I know, it's good. It's great.
So, and then
Roll with it.
we'll roll with it. And then we will also announce the winner of tonight's game later on, either tonight or tomorrow. We just got to tally up the points.
It's real close.
Yeah.
And we're going to have to see who chimed in first
Yep.
to make sure that we have the exact.
Like because it might come down to a tie. So then
right now we
to-
have a tie.
Yeah, we don't do ties around here. So there's that.
Not everyone gets a trophy.
Right. So.
All right. We're going to end this on the best note ever.
Oh yeah.
What do you think is better? Reese's eggs, Easter eggs, or Reese's peanut butter cups? Leave a comment.
Leave a comment right now.
Easter eggs? I'm going with Easter eggs.
I love Reese's eggs.
Yeah,
just
there's
more
peanut butter.
Yeah.
Or Reese's peanut butter cups. Maybe you like the chocolate better.
Maybe.
Either way, Leave a comment. Let us know.
What's yours? Which one?
Oh, it's gonna be the Reese's eggs.
All right,
Oh, yeah, Jake went
said
eggs, too.
Reese's eggs. Yeah,
Awesome.
I'm telling you.
Eggs for
look,
the win.
We got
Eggs for the
Whitney
win.
said eggs for sure. The Living Noodle said eggs.
Eggs.
Sherry said the
Eggs
the eggs
all
just
day.
The best.
Yes.
Right?
All right, guys. Have a great night.
Thanks for joining us.
We'll see you on Wednesday.